Hi everybody, welcome. My name is Chef Fernando Mojica with LearnToCook.com. Thanks for joining us today. We're going to be making a polenta today. We're going to specifically make polenta cakes, which are a little bit more hard, and they're actually a lot more versatile as far as cooking goes. You can grill it, you can pan sear it, you can bake them. So what we're going to need for this is we're going to need yellow cornmeal or polenta meal. We need some shallots, which we chopped real fine. We're going to need some everyday essential butter. We're going to need some Swanson chicken stock. We're also going to need some salt and pepper. So the way we're going to start this off is we're going to melt our butter in the stove. And once we melt the butter, there's a couple of quick pointers to do on this one. When you make polenta, you always want to make sure that you use either a wooden spoon or you use a plastic heat-resistant spoon. And the reason for that is because if you use metal, you're going to might have some of that reaction. Not only that, but you might get some of the metal flavor onto the polenta. So it's better to use the wooden spoon or a plastic spatula, like I said. So we're going to go ahead and melt the butter. Once that's melted, we're going to add the shallots and we're going to sweat them off real quick. And what I mean by sweat is going to cook them over low flame. We're going to let them heat and let them cook, but we don't want them to get brown. We just want them to get real translucent so we can get all of that flavor out, but it's not brown, okay? So we're going to sweat them for about a minute or two just so they start to get nice and translucent. So once we've done that, what we're going to do is we're going to add the chicken stock. And we're going to bring that chicken stock to a boil. And you want a hard boil on this one. It's going to take about, depending on the size of your pot, depending on the amount of stock you use, you're going to make sure that that comes to a roaring boil. Once that's ready, we're going to add the polenta. All right, so now that our chicken stock is boiling, what we're going to do is we're going to add the polenta, but you want to make sure that you add it slowly, and as you're adding the polenta, you want to make sure that you're stirring it so that you don't get any clunks, okay? So you want to make sure you're constantly stirring it. Like I said, this is going to prevent any lumps on the polenta, and it's going to absorb into the stock better. So once we've done that, the next step is we're going to reduce the flame and let it simmer. So that the polenta can start cooking and start absorbing all that liquid. We're going to let it sit for about 20 minutes to 30 minutes, depending on how much you're cooking. And every once in a while, about a minute or so, every 2 minutes, you want to come back and you want to stir the polenta up so it doesn't, one, burn to the bottom of the pan, and two, that you want to make sure that you get all the sides of the pan and you get all the polenta cooks evenly. So we're going to let that sit for about 30 minutes and we'll come back and finish it off. So you can, once we all mold the polenta, right, you can cut it to any shape you want. You can cut it into circles. We can use a ring mold cutter, cut it into circles. You can cut it into triangles, squares, rectangles, whichever shape you want, whichever size you want, okay? So what we're going to do is just going to cut it into triangles. So as you can see, because we made it a little bit more thicker, it holds its shape a lot better. So we're going to go ahead and cut triangles out of those. And now, what we're going to do is we have a satay pan over here on the stove. And a couple of things about the pan. So it's, number one, it's a non-stick pan. What that's going to make is that's going to prevent the polenta from sticking to the pan. Number two, it's actually, we pre-warm it up. It's got to be very warm, almost to the point where it's starting to smoke a little bit. We're going to warm up an oil there, so again, to the point where it's starting to smoke a little bit. And the other thing you want to do is, you don't want to put a lot of oil, just enough to cover the pan, okay? So we have a little bit of flour here, so you just want to kind of grab the polenta cakes a little bit and just slightly, very slightly, just tap a little bit of flour into it. This is going to make it nice and brown, number one. But then number two is same thing. It's going to prevent it from sticking. But if you add a lot of flour to it, it's just going to, you're going to, number one, you won't be able to cook the flour out, so you're going to get a lot of raw flour once you bite into it. And number two, you're going to get a lot of lumps out of the flour. So just a little bit. We're going to do the same thing with all of them. And you want to do the top and the bottom. Once that's ready, we're going to go ahead and put them on the oil. So let it sear on both sides. Okay, so we finished off our polenta. We took it out of the oven. As you can see, it's nice and golden brown. Again, you can finish it up on the grill, on the broiler, on the salamander, whatever you choose. So for this particular dish, we paired the polenta with a little bit of stuffed chicken. and a balsamic Dijon sauce that we made. So it makes a nice complete meal. But as you can see, you can pair these with any other type of food, seafood, beef, anything. Also, the polenta is very compatible with everything that you want to think of as far as proteins are concerned. So I hope you enjoyed making the polenta, and I hope to see you again next time. Thank you for joining us. My name is Chef Fernando Mojica with LearnToCook.com.
Well, thanks for joining us today at LearnToCook.com. Be sure to comment and to subscribe. Also, visit us on Facebook and Twitter. Have a great day, and thank you.